Today from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
How you doing, Darren?
John, I'm doing A-OK, as always.
Well, that sounded
living the life. You didn't buy that?
No, not really, no.
All right, well, that's all I got.
I mean, it could be true. I'm just saying I personally do not buy it.
You think I'm faking it? I'm pumping myself up like a morning DJ, radio host, and once the mics are off, I'm just back to staring at my phone, all despondent, just looking into the void. Is that what you're trying to say?
Sure. I mean, why should you be any better than the rest of us?
Wow. That's fair point.
Yeah, I mean, we're going through a dark time.
This is the darkest timeline.
It kind of is. So
yeah, and it's cold. I mean, here on the East Coast, it is. I believe the temperature is brick, as the young urban say.
Is that what they're saying now?
Yeah. You never heard that term, brick?
I don't think I have. No.
Yeah, like when it's super.
I am very Caucasian.
Got it.
Didn't think I'd need to remind you of this, but yeah, very Caucasian. You are more likely to hear this slang of the young urban youths than I am.
No doubt.
Right.
But yeah, like when it's like super cold outside, they say it's brick. It's brick cold.
It's brick. Right. I'm not quite getting the connection between bricks and cold temperatures.
I don't quite get it either, but I guess it's cold as a brick, so it's brick out.
Okay. I'm gonna go to Urban Dictionary when we're done here. Is Urban Dictionary still a thing? I don't even know. I feel like that's an outdated reference at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, I'm your Urban Dictionary. What are you talking about? I'm from the streets.
Okay.
I mean,
right. So I will just call you whenever I am confused by slang that I hear.
No diggity.
Okay. This system will not backfire on me at all.
I don't see how it could.
Don't see how. So anyway, SNL is back after what was it? A week away? Was that right? Was it just 1 week they broke?
It was like a week or two. I think
it feels like longer. I don't know. I know that the Paul Rudd show, that was the last show of 2021. This is the first show of 2022. We had a little bit of news. We had a couple writers leave. And Allison Gates and Streeter Seidel have been promoted to head writers of the show. So congratulations to both of them.
Heyo.
That's exciting. And I think those are good choices.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've expressed how much we really like Streeter Seidel's stuff. Like every time we watch a sketch that really resonates and pops with us, 9 times out of 10 it's a Streeter joint. So to make him head writer, it only makes sense.
Yep. I think he's turned out a lot of really strong material in particular. So yeah. So and this week we had Ariana DeBose hosting and Bleachers musical guesting. We had a bit of a kerfluffle with the musical guest this week. Oh, by the way, this is SNL episode 10 from season 47 from January 15th, 2022. So, but yeah, we had a little bit of a kerfluffle with the originally booked musical guest. There was like a bit of a COVID scare there, apparently.
Yes, there was a bit of an oopsie-doo. They were kind of vague about it, but basically, it was supposed to be the rapper Roddy Ricch, of course, from the announcer for Price is Right. And, of course. And apparently, he said somebody in his team contracted COVID. Now, I don't know if... I mean, he didn't say he got it or somebody in his entourage. He said basically somebody in his area, his vicinity, his circle, tested positive for COVID. So he said, yeah, I'm going to have to bow out. SNL and I were going to try to figure out another time for me to come on. And so he bowed out. And just in the nick of time, the band Bleachers came in. Now, John, were you familiar with Bleachers at all when you heard the news?
I was not. I've since learned that the lead singer, whose name I don't have handy right now. Where is his name?
Jack Antonoff.
Thank you, Jack Antonoff. He's apparently worked as a producer for a lot of artists, and he was also in the band Fun. So I was familiar with the band Fun. So I was more familiar with him than I realized.
Yeah, like Jack Antonoff, Jersey's own, Bergen County
Hmm.
represent. He's
Right.
like one of these guys who, like you said, he's kind of known for being a bit of a super producer. He's worked with, Lana Del Rey. He's worked with Taylor Swift, and like you said, he was in the band Fun, who had those two huge hits a couple years ago, "We Are Young" and "Some Nights." And he's
Hmm.
in a few other bands too. And he's in this band, Bleachers, which I looked on Wikipedia. It describes Bleachers as a band that does pop music that is heavily influenced by late '80s, early '90s, and the high school based films of John Hughes, while still using modern production techniques. Which is
Okay.
that's that's quite a description. And
That is a niche. Yeah.
yeah, and like if you look at the albums that Bleachers have put out, you could definitely hear it. It has like it does have like an old school '80s '90s feel and vibe to it, but it's a little bit more modernized. And yeah, he's done like a ton of stuff with other artists too. Like if you look at the old Bleachers album, there's a song he does with Lana Del Rey. He has a song with Yoko Ono, and
Wow.
on the last album that just came out, I think it's called "Taking the Sadness Out of Saturday Night" or something like that. But on the last album that just came out a year ago, he has a song with Bruce Springsteen, which if you've seen the performances, which we'll get to, it's very obvious that he's a huge Springsteen fan.
Yeah, I was seeing that comparison a lot on the social media.
Yeah. All right. The last album he came out with, Bleachers, "Take the Sadness Out of Saturday Night," and now he got to
Okay.
perform on Saturday Night Live.
Well, look at that. Look at that. So, it's cool that they got somebody to come in sort of last minute ish. Um, and yeah, hopefully Roddy will be able to come back before the season is out. So that would be nice.
That's right, Roddy Rich. Come on down when you can, when you're not,
Hmm.
when you don't have the Rona.
When you're not infectious, yes, yes. And
Yes.
yeah, we were a few cast members down on this episode. I know Cecily Strong was not showing up because she is busy doing her one woman show on Broadway, The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe. And she actually popped up on Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show this week, and she appeared remotely on that show because she's isolating herself because it's a one woman show. She doesn't have any sort of understudy, so she's isolating herself as much as possible to uh, so she doesn't get infected because she gets sick. That would be very bad.
Yeah, then the whole show closed. That makes sense. So I'm assuming we're not going to
Mhm.
see Cecily until maybe March or so, because I think the show goes on
I
until like
I
mid
think her
February.
show closes like sometime late February, if I remember correctly. I don't have the dates up in front of me. I think it was sometime in February. Yeah, it wasn't running real long. Um, but I saw that she was appearing remotely on Fallon show, which also records on 30 Rock. I was like, oh, okay, so she's not going to pop up on the show this week at all. Uh,
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. You can't take any chances.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and there's not much point in having an understudy for a one woman show because
Yeah.
if you're going out to see that show, you're going out to see Cecily Strong. You don't want to hear you don't want to see just some rando. If you're doing
Yes.
like a big show like Hamilton or something, yeah, it can be disappointing if you have an understudy, but you're still seeing the show. So
Right. You don't want to be there like, oh, the role of Cecily Strong will be played by random lady number 5 over here.
right, and also Adie Bryant and Punky Johnson were also both absent, and I don't know what the deal was with that.
Yeah, yeah. That's I noticed they didn't show up in any sketches either. I don't know if that's because they just weren't roles for them, or maybe they're under the weather, or who knows? They're just I don't know. But
Who
hopefully they're
knows?
fine.
Yeah, and I don't want to just speculate recklessly, but we hope they're both doing well.
Absolutely.
Apparently, Punky Johnson made some sort of joke on Instagram that she had gotten married, but that was just a joke.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, oh, congrats, and like, oh no, it's a fib.
No, no. But
Okay.
hey, James Austin Johnson had a baby, or he and his wife had a
Hey,
baby,
yeah,
so that's
yeah,
cool.
I don't, yeah, I don't think he had it because I don't think the science is there yet.
Medical science is not advanced to that degree quite yet. So yeah, that is
Right,
why I
because
quickly corrected myself.
medical science is not working on that because men do not want to have babies. We were
No,
like,
yeah,
no, we'll leave that to the experts. We'll let you ladies take care of that. We'll just stay here and run everything and pay you a third of what you should be getting.
yeah,
But you ladies can have babies. Go at it. Go nuts.
yep, 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 yep.
You're welcome,
So anyway,
ladies.
you're welcome. You're welcome because we're givers. All right, so should we dive into the show?
Let's dive into this show. Let's get into it.
Okay, so starting out, we had a message from the president, cold open, and who better to have on the cold open than the cold open kid himself, James Austin Johnson, as Joe Biden.
We got jumping Joe Biden back.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so he's Joe Biden hasn't had the greatest couple of weeks. He's having some trouble, and Joe Biden's just kind of addressing the nation about that. And since we have COVID spikes happening again, he says there's one simple thing you can do to make this virus go away: stop seeing Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then that's kind of the theme throughout the sketch because Spider-Man came out December 17th. I think I
Mm-hmm.
saw it the 16th. Fantastic film, but that's for another
Yeah,
podcast.
it's great. I haven't really felt right about going to see it since then, though, because like as they note, it started to spike right after.
Right, and so like basically the crux of the sketch is people just keep going and seeing and rewatching Spider-Man, and that causes the COVID to go up. So stop seeing Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. It's just every Spider-Man screening is a super spreader event, and they're like, "Are you saying we shouldn't go to any movies?" And he's like, "No, just Spider-Man."
Yeah, you
So,
can see
um,
Encanto or whatever.
yeah. I mean, it was okay. I felt like they just really repeated that one joke a whole lot. Um, so
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I mean it really kind of. I mean that the whole thing was kind of really hinging on James to like really sell it and kind of depend on his charisma. Like that, like he was doing most of the heavy lifting because the jokes
Yeah.
were all right, but they really weren't quite there.
Yeah, we had Andrew Dismukes as a nerdy reporter saying, "Do you think that elsewhere in the multiverse there's another version of Joe Biden that wants you to see Spider-Man?" And then it kind of emerges. We have Pete Davidson come out as Joe Biden from like the real universe, and it turns out that our universe is just this weird parallel dimension that started when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016.
Right. Because James Austin Johnson's Biden does bring that up saying, well, doesn't the fact that we're in an alternate universe, doesn't that make more sense than
Mm-hmm.
anything as to what all the insanity that's happening? And the audience agreed with a huge hearty applause at that
Yeah,
joke.
yeah,
And
because I mean things are pretty insane. So yeah,
pretty insane. And he's talking about how Spider-Man has his villains. He has Joe Manchin and Christian Cinema because he can't get the Voting Rights Act passed. And he brings up a lot of stuff that's been happening with him and how it seems like we're in an alternate reality, an alternate universe that's on the verge of collapse at any moment. And
hmm
yeah, it's it cuts a little too deep.
it does make a certain sense. Yeah, and we have Pete Davidson come on as the quote unquote real Joe Biden, and it's just Pete Davidson with like a jacket over him and his tattoos showing through. and
Yeah, no,
he's
sure.
like the cool Biden who's hip and cool.
Hip to be
And
square.
he says that like the real universe is better for everybody except for Pete Davidson in that universe. So
Right. Nice little Pete Davidson shade at himself. He's not
mhm.
above that.
So I don't
And
know. What did you think of this? I thought it was more weird than funny. I wasn't too impressed by it.
yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it was overall I thought it was a good way to open the show. Yeah, the jokes weren't super solid, but like I think when they bring up the multiverse, that kind of it kind of picks it up a little bit more, and that's when the alternate universe, Joe Biden played by Pete Davidson add a little something, and when they say live
Hmm.
from New York a Saturday night, and then some random person in a Spider-Man outfit comes out of nowhere and just
Yeah.
jumps around
Who didn't really
stage.
know where his mark was because he was like barely on camera. He had trouble being in the shot. I don't know. Maybe the multiverse thing could have worked better if they brought in a few more Bidens. That might have been fun. Like bring back Alex Moffat as his Biden.
Oh,
I'm assuming they couldn't do another Jason Sudeikis Biden cameo, but
oh, Woody
that might have been
Harrelson.
fun if we had like Bidens from a few other alternate worlds. You know?
Yeah, yeah, like Woody Harrelson Biden, and then John Mulaney Biden
Mhm.
come out. That actually
Yeah,
would
yeah.
that's actually better. I think we rewrote a better sketch right there.
Yeah, I don't know how feasible that is, how available any of those people would be, and if they were like anywhere close to New York City. But it's just an idea that I had.
Okay. Yeah, but overall, I thought the opening was okay. It kind of meanders a little bit when he keeps repeating, "Stop seeing Spider-Man, stop seeing Spider-Man." But then when the
Yeah,
multiverse
yeah. I mean, like
comes in,
as you often say, it didn't really build. It was just kind of that
right?
one joke over and over. So I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled with it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Hmm. All
I thought
right.
it was
So
okay
next
enough.
we have the Ariana DeBose monologue. I guess she had some nervous energy because when she came out, she said, 2020 has already been a wild year. And, we are essentially all still living in 2020. So it's an
Yeah,
understandable mistake.
yeah. I'm still writing 2020 in all my checks.
I'm still writing 2020 on all my suicide notes. So,
Jesus,
um,
damn it, that's a better joke. Shit, damn it. Oh, you got it. You got it. I
well,
got to
that's
give it
okay.
to you. You got it.
Okay. All right. Um, and she's having a good year. She just won a Golden Globe. I think there's also buzz about her getting like an Oscar nomination for West Side Story.
uh,
So
yeah, she's
she's doing
also
all right.
she's doing all right. She's actually got nominated for a SAG award recently as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, and I also saw on social media she's actually the 200th woman to host SNL, and I think the 12th Latina.
Oh, all right, not
So
bad.
that's pretty
Far
cool.
out.
Hmm.
Go on, Ariana DeBose.
And And we know her. I mean, she was in Hamilton. She was in Schmigadoon, which we recently watched. Uh, yeah, so she's doing well for herself, and she's in the West Side Story thing. Have you seen West Side Story? I have not.
No, I don't really
Yeah.
have any. It like I think I said it before in the last episode we did. It looks beautiful. It looks visually stunning.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I know the West Side Story. I've seen the old movie years and years ago. I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. Is this going to bring anything new that I haven't seen? Like, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm just not pumped to see it. I might watch it. Who knows? But
If they brought in some things from the other West Side Story multiverses, yeah, then maybe that would have moved the needle a little bit.
I hear you. Yeah, we're just gonna bring in
But
multiverses to to just pump up everything in our lives now. I guess.
yeah, no, yeah, that's what we have to do. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that is the clear solution. Um,
Fair enough.
So we have Kate McKinnon come in, crashing the monologue. Um, she said that she also has not seen West Side Story. She says, I didn't leave the house because of COVID and also because I don't leave the house.
That probably hit close home
And
to you, for you.
this was, I mean, Kate McKinnon is my spirit animal. I vaguely remember like them doing a musical thing a few years back. It was like a pre-taped segment where I think everybody was talking about how great their apartments were, and Kate McKinnon was just like, alone with my cat.
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, Kate has heavy introvert vibes, so I
She's a
relate to that.
she's a homebody. She's a homebody.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Uh,
I mean, I thought this I thought this monologue was interesting too because it's the first monologue in a long time where it wasn't just the host talking to the audience and telling them, telling the audience about themselves and their background.
hmm.
This is like
We
one
had a
where
little of
Cassie
that,
was
but
scratching.
I mean, but she's a musical star, so I think it makes sense that they had her, do a medley of songs from West Side Story. And apparently, Kate is a huge fan of West Side Story, so they did a duet. And they sang "Tonight," "I Feel Pretty," "America," some other songs that I didn't write down. Um, it was cute. Yeah, they were having
Yeah, it
fun
was
with it,
cute.
obviously.
Yeah, it was cute and fun enough. At one point, we have Ariana doing the mambo dance, and then she points to Kate to take it away, Kate, and Kate just says,
Hmm.
"Oh no, it's okay. They know I dance,"
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
it. There was also one thing that I noticed too when they were singing "I Feel Pretty," and the line where they say "I feel pretty and witty and gay," and then Kate
Hmm.
sort of hold out her fist to Ariana to fist bump her, and then Ariana
Uh
fist
huh.
bumps her back. Like I didn't quite get that, and then I went like this morning. I went back and did a little bit more research, and I saw Ariana DeBose identifies as queer, so she's part of the LGBTQ. So that fist pump when they said I feel pretty and witty and gay, and they did the fist pump, that was like a
Okay.
little,
Okay.
it was like a little nod, to like, hey, I see you there, gay sister.
I think I noticed that the first time I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, I should investigate that," because I have no idea, what she identified as, um, and then I forgot. So I'm glad you looked it
Way to do your job, ally.
up. Look, I'm an ally, but I am a forgetful ally. So
John Trumbull,
so
forgetful ally.
I'm on your side, but you're just gonna have to remind me a few times.
You have to text me reminders. Text me reminders.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Um,
But yeah, I didn't know that she was like identified as queer, and that actually explains another sketch that happens on later in the night a little bit more. Where I'm like, oh, okay, this makes more
yes.
sense now.
Yes.
We'll
Yes.
get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there, and I know which sketch you mean. Um,
Hmm.
all right, so our first sketch was NBA on TNT with Keenan as Charles Barkley, Bowen playing Yao Ming, and they have Bowen boosted up so he's as inhumanly tall as Yao Ming is. And the joke here is that the Sacramento Kings have been replaced by fans because the entire team has COVID.
All the team, the entire team, and the coach.
And the coach, yes. So they just have fans playing in their stead, and it goes about as
Right.
well as you would expect.
Right. I mean, at one point they say that the
They had one player's. Go ahead.
well, no, I was gonna say at one point they have the equipment manager, Dougie McCormick, play on the team, and I think he had like two asthma attacks.
Yeah, yeah, that was in his stats.
Right, exactly. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna lead up to the asthma attack thing too. So yeah, we were on the same
Ah,
page.
we're in sync.
So yeah, this was all right. I didn't relate to it in a big way, just because I'm not a sports person. I don't watch any sports shows, so I'm only vaguely familiar with most sports commentators. I mean, I know who Charles Barkley and Yao Ming are, of course, but this was cute, but it didn't really send me.
I mean, this had a few moments. I did dig it. I did think though it went on a little too long because I looked it up
Uh
on
huh.
YouTube. This sketch was like it's like a 6 minute long sketch. I was like, they kind of could have
That
taken
seems
out a
long.
few
Yeah.
things. They could have taken
Yeah.
out a few things here and there, but there were a lot of things in the sketch I like when I mean, I like Bowen's portrayal of Yao Ming. He basically has him as like this deep voice, almost like Lurch from the Addams Family type of character.
Hmm.
Okay, yes, it is Yao. I am here. I like how Charles Barkley is just enamored and tickled with Yao Ming, saying things like, "Yeah, he's huge. I saw him eat an entire pumpkin, stem and all."
Hmm. I
Like
liked
things
it
like that.
when I think he was trying to do a high five with Yao Ming, and they had like a fake hand come in to to, and Yao Ming's hand is as big as Keenan's head. That was cute.
Yeah, that was good. I liked when they cut to Heidi Gardner's character, who was a reporter, talking to one of the Sacramento Kings players after the game, and he's just some guy who like does pickup basketball at the Y, and he's just exhausted
Yeah.
and he's scared, and he says, "Yeah, I'm gonna stop doing this because basketball is an impossible sport played by giants and gods,"
Yeah. Yeah.
which is something I've thought since grade school.
Yes. Same.
Yes, ask my gym teachers; they'll tell you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow! All right,
Oh, I'm
she
having
got real.
disturbing childhood flashbacks now.
I
Um,
still can't climb the rope. Still can't do it.
so yeah, yeah. All right. And so next we had a pre-tape. This is called Urkel Reboot. This was written by Mikey Day and Streeter Seidel. This was kind of playing off. There was a trailer that dropped this week for a reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, but it's like a dramatic reboot, and it's called Bel Air, right?
Yeah. So basically, what happened is, this is a weird story. So basically, what happened is somebody put together a video for this fictitious show called Bel Air, where it's basically telling the story of Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the sitcom, the NBC sitcom from the '90s, but doing like a dramatic twist on it. And the way it was shot looked so real and so good that it went viral. And like people were like, "What is
Wait,
this a
wait,
real
wait. Oh,
show?"
so that's not going to be a real show? I thought that
Well,
was a real show.
no, here's the thing. It wasn't a real show. It went viral and it got all this buzz and people really responded to it. Will Smith saw it and was like, "Oh, let's make this a real show." So now, because of that viral trailer, now it is going to be a real show on Peacock.
Okay, wow. I didn't know that backstory. I thought that was just something that was being done. I guess I missed that viral video when it first came around. But when I saw it, it immediately reminded me of a sketch that they did on SNL a few years ago that Chris Red was also starring in, oddly enough, where it was the beginning of the Fresh Prince sitcom where he's, doing the rap and just explaining the premise of the show, but they have like the gangs come after him to Bel Air, and it it escalates in a big way. And yeah, I retweeted that from the SNL Nerds show Twitter account, and wow, I didn't realize that this was a joke that then became a real thing. That's weird.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, it was like a video that somebody put out just for fun, but it was like shot really well. You can kind of
Uh
you
huh.
can tell he kind of spent money on it, and it looked
Oh,
really good. And it looked so good that it caught the eye of Will Smith, and he saw people were kind of hyped for it. So he was like, "Hey, let's make this into a real thing." And here we are.
wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to go find that video when we're done here. Yeah. So
Yeah.
here, the twist they put on it is they do a gritty, dramatic reboot of Family Matters with Chris Red playing Urkel, Keenan playing Reginald Bell Johnson, and Ego as the sister that Urkel had a crush on.
Laura. Yeah. Sister John.
Okay. Okay. I never watched the Family Matters, so I only know like the broad strokes of the show. Um, what'd you think of this?
Um, I thought it was okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I kind of liked the idea of it, but I mean, with this sketch, it kind of fizzled out towards the end. It seems like
Uh huh.
the idea of it is good, but they didn't really kind of know where to go with it. I thought
Yeah.
because it kind of starts with him being like this, living in the inner city Chicago, him being in love with Laura, and then him, beating up a dude that hooks up with Laura. I do like
Yeah.
how I mean, it's Andrew Dismukes. I do like how Chris Red, who plays Urkel, confronts Andrew Dismukes' character, saying, "You don't love her. You don't love her." And Andrew says, "Nah, but I love how she makes it clap, though." Like, I don't know why that makes me laugh to hear him say
Yeah.
that. But then, I mean, after that, he beats up Andrew and he threatens to shoot him, saying, "Oh, what if I shoot you? Should I do that?" And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it
That was
kind of,
good.
yeah, I mean, it kind of doesn't know where to go. I feel like.
I'm just now remembering on the Real Family Matters. Wasn't there like an actress who played a sister that they wrote out of the show, and then that actress eventually ended up in porn? Am I remembering that right?
Yes, Judy Winslow. Yeah, that was really something. Yes. So,
Okay.
I mean, for those, sorry. So, for those that don't know, basically, in Family Matters, there were three kids in the family, like the little sister, Laura Winslow, and the older son, Eddie, and like they never really gave Judy Winslow anything to do.
Uh
So,
huh.
like, I remember like one episode, she just kind of went upstairs to her room, and like the next episode, or she kind of got written out of the show. They never mentioned her. They never brought
They
her
just
up.
Chuck Cunningham'd her out of the show.
Yeah, it was like on Happy Days with the brother Chuck. Like he just they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
yeah, just like the next episode, there was no Judy Winslow. It was always just Laura and Eddie. And then I think then they brought in a younger, cuter kid to sort of take the place of Judy and like
Oh, that's bad.
yeah, but
That's
it was
twisting the knife.
yeah, it was like the aunt's son, and he became like the precocious little kid. And
Oh,
yeah, then Judy was just off the show, and then yeah, years and years later, you see online that little Judy's doing doing the sexy stuff
adult
on the
films.
adult, yeah,
Uh,
erotic entertainment on the videos.
oh well,
It's
that's not good.
it's not good,
Something
much.
like what was it they said in a sketch a while back? There was like nobody plans to do porn. I think that was something Amy Poehler said in some sketch or another.
Ah, damn
But
it! Now I got to look that up. I remember it, but I don't remember who
yeah,
said it.
that's that was. I just remember her delivery on that. She was just like, "Well, nobody plans to do porn." I can't remember if that was an SNL sketch or maybe it was one of the Golden Globes monologues that she did with Tina Fey. But anyway,
Yeah, actually, that's it. It is the. I'm looking up now. It is a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler Golden Globes speech. Good memory, man.
well, there you go. Well, I think I rewatched those not too long ago. So every once in a while you just get the urge to rewatch those. So
Yeah, far
or
far
at
out.
least I do anyway. But
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, back to this sketch. Yeah, like I feel like it kind of peters out toward the end. It doesn't kind of know what it wants to do with this premise.
yeah,
I like Keenan's Reginald Val Johnson impression. I thought that was
hmm
pretty legit. But I kind
yeah,
of compared it to another pre-tape they did, The Grouch, with on the David Harbour episode when they did the
yeah.
whole
That was much
gritty.
better.
Yeah, that was way better. They kind of knew more what to do with it. They kind of explored the world more. Here, it's kind of I don't know. They seem to be kind of meandering and petering out a bit. So I was like,
Yeah,
the, there's something here, but it just didn't develop.
yeah, yeah. All right. So next we have Winter Formal. This is Sarah Sherman and Pete Davidson. They're running Ron and Donna's Formal Emporium, and they're just like pitching their services for your daughter's winter formal. And if and as an extra thing, they're also offering up their son Donovan as a potential date. because nothing's going to happen to your daughter if she goes out with Donovan, because Donovan wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah, this sketch was a hoot. I think this was
Mm-hmm.
written by the Please Don't Destroy guys, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, yes. Yeah.
Right, and yeah, and
Martin
it's basically
Harley, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall.
yes, PDD boys, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's pretty much that. Like these two kind of Staten Island, Long Island stereotype couples, and like they're selling all these things for prom night, like a limo made
Yeah.
out of two Toyota Corollas,
Yes. Yeah.
and
And they get very specific about all of you know Donovan's maladies or what makes him weird or an odd date. I liked the line, "Your daughter is guaranteed to remain unpenetrated." That's a great line,
yes,
and a nice guarantee. I
that's
can
right.
see how that would be appealing for a parent.
Yeah, and he's a lazy wiper. You can smell it.
And they turn him around at one point, and they show that he has clinical swamp ass, and he's got like this whole wet strip going down the middle of the back of his pants.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, it's yeah, Andrew Smooks really sells it too. Like the fact that he has
yeah,
like just wetness swamp ass on his ass. The fact that he has weird crusty lips all the
yeah,
time, like, and then they zoom in on his lips.
yeah, yeah.
The parents are like, "What is that? Cream cheese? Why are your lips like
And
that?"
he doesn't dance the entire night, but then he goes nuts to Get Low.
Get Low is a
uh,
banger in his defense.
Dismukes seems to really be carving out a niche for himself as the nerdy kid or the weird kid, and he's like always the nerdy weird one in sketches, and
Yeah,
he seems to excel at that.
he's really good. He's really getting into Kyle Mooney's territory there.
He kind of is. He kind of is. Yeah, this was a big show for Andrew Dismukes. He had a lot to do in this one.
Yeah, I would
Also,
say
we
him
had
and Chris. I would say him and Chris Red had a lot to do in this episode.
yeah, it was a good show for both of them. Also, Pete, his voice, big Adam Sandler vibes from Pete in this sketch.
Yeah, no, it's if you close your eyes and listen to the sketch, you can visualize Adam Sandler saying all of this stuff. You can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, this I really liked this. This was funny. I think this was probably sketch of the night for me.
I would say so too. Like I really dug the vibe. I like, it was absurd and silly, and the fact that like they had the testimonials from the girls that took up the services from the place,
Hmm.
and one of them was talking about how he rented Donovan, and she didn't understand why he wore like a Polio's Hermanos shirt at one point during the night.
Hmm.
And he's like, what even is that?" And then Donovan's like, "I told you 100 times. That's the fictional restaurant from Breaking Bad."
Yeah.
As a Breaking Bad fan, I appreciated that.
So,
And I like towards the end where, of course, they play Get Low, and Donovan just goes all wacky with the dance, and then Sarah Sherman just gets like right up to the camera, like she walks
hmm.
right up to the camera and says, like, so reach out to us. We don't have a website and we barely have a phone. And like
Hmm.
I don't know if that was written in the sketch that she goes like directly up to the camera, or that was just Sarah being Sarah. But like I think it added to the
I
wackiness of
feel
the
like they
sketch.
had to expect that in some fashion. Yeah.
Okay, all right, but yeah, either way, I dug the sketch.
Yeah. Yep. It was funny stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Next, we have Eric Adams' press conference. This was Chris Red playing New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He was just sworn in on New Year's, and the premise on this is, NYC's never had a mayor with this much swagger before.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised to see this sketch for two reasons. Just for one, that it's a press conference sketch, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing another press conference sketch. We
A
just had the
lot
cold
of
open."
press
No.
conferences. Yeah, a lot of sketches with just like people answering questions from the crowd.
Oh yeah,
So,
because they're the third one that comes up. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
uh huh, uh huh.
And also, it kind of surprised me because I mean, when De Blasio was mayor of New York, we I don't think they did too many De Blasio sketches.
Right.
They kind of, he was kind of hands off, but now we're just getting into the Eric Adams stuff, which I mean, it makes sense because even though he's already, been elected mayor and he's already been sworn in, he's already kind of had a good amount of controversy swirling around him. They bring
Yeah,
it up
his
in this,
brother's the head of his security detail.
yeah, and of course that whole thing about non-essential workers. He said, kind of putting down what he deems is and isn't a skilled worker.
Yeah.
A lot of people in New York aren't wild about him because he's an ex cop, and they feel like, all right, well, he's just always going to have the NYPD's back, and New York's going to become a police state. So he's.
hmm
But I actually did watch some interviews of people after he got sworn in, and one person literally says, "Well, he's not De Blasio, so he's off to a good start."
Yeah, because I mean, it seems to be the thing is no matter who New York's mayor is, and no matter what they do, New York is going to hate them by the time they leave office. So, I mean, that seems to be
That's
the one constant. Um,
Yeah, that seems to be
yeah,
yeah, that seems to be our New York's time honored tradition.
yeah. I mean, like on New Year's Eve, what's his name? Who hosts CNN's New Year's Eve coverage with Anderson Cooper, the Watch What Happens Live guy?
Andy Cohen or
Andy Cohen. Yeah, he went off on a rant about De Blasio, um, aided by quite a bit of alcohol because they're drinking on
yeah.
air during that, and he went on a little rant and go YouTube that if you haven't seen that. It's quite entertaining.
Whoo, whoo boy.
Because Andy Cohen is going off, and Anderson Cooper is just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. He really treated that like it was his own personal Twitter. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and it's just fun to see Anderson Cooper get flustered. It was fun to see him get flustered with Kathy Griffin. It's fun to see him get flustered with Andy Cohen.
yeah. A flustered
and
a flustered Anderson Cooper is a hilarious Anderson Cooper.
and I thank God that we have one guaranteed night a year that we get to see flustered Anderson Cooper, and that's New Year's Eve. That is and that is why I didn't watch Miley Cyrus and Pete Davidson.
3, 2, 1. Anderson Cooper's flustered.
oh, 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 oh. um, so I mean, yeah. So this was interesting. I was kind of surprised that they did something this New York centric because I'm just like, how much do people in other areas of the country know or care about this? Like we get New York news because we here in Jersey we get like the New York station, so we get very New York centric news here. Um, but yeah, I have no idea how much everybody else in the country knows or cares about New York stuff.
Yeah, I did wonder that, like how much of, like you said, like how many, if you're not in New York, will you even care about this? But I think what Chris Red did to sort of combat that is to make this person so much of a caricature that you
hmm
automatically are like kind of invested and you really like the sketch. And yeah, I mean this sketch is all Chris Red. He's pretty much doing all the heavy lifting in this one, just making
It
it
was a
go.
nice showcase for him. Yeah, and he did do a very specific character, and it was very funny. I liked how every time he mentioned that he was a cop, the number of years he was a cop increased. And he was like, "I was a cop for 97 years," and then it was like over 200 years by the end of the sketch.
Right.
This sketch, by the way, I don't think we mentioned it was written by Chris Red and Will Steven. Yeah, it was nicely written, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really good. Like, he basically makes Eric Adam like this very overconfident, very swaggered out type of character. Like he comes out to
Mhm.
Bad Boys by like Sean Puffy Combs and Mace. Yeah, and then
Mhm.
of course he ends every sentence with "Bitch, I'm from New York."
Yeah, yeah.
So he already has a catchphrase up there with him. Um, yeah, and I just really like the way Chris Red played it. I like him having quick lines saying he starts off every morning getting that thing off. You can't start the day without finishing first. Just
Yeah.
I like wow.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, just joking, unless you're into it."
Yeah, exactly.
Just like
Uh,
just putting it out there.
yeah, and then like him having fun with all the other reporters, like him calling. I think Bowen Yang recently dyed his hair blonde, so
Yeah,
in the sketch, Bowen Yang plays one of the reporters, and he calls him like weird Eminem. Uh,
yeah,
at
yeah.
one point, Heidi Gardner, who's a reporter, asks a question, and she's of course blonde, and she's wearing like a pink dress, and he calls her Princess Peach. Just like
Hmm.
really chewing up the scene and really just hamming it up, but in a hilarious way.
Yeah.
I thought,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, uh,
So good stuff,
good
and
stuff.
nice
Yeah, yeah,
showcase for Chris Red. He's a guy who deserves like some breakout roles. So
yeah. I mean, there was that one joke where I think when they're talking about how he got his brother a job, like as a high paid position, and of course I'm saying, hey, isn't that kind of like nepotism? And he's like, there's nothing wrong with giving your brother a job. Like JFK did it all the time. And I'm in New York. I can be your JFK, but unlike JFK, I'm not going to get popped in the head. I'm going to be receiving it. Like that was, I was like, whoa, that is, ha, that is that's questionable. But I did laugh.
yeah, yeah. So next we have the musical guest Bleachers. Their first number was "How Dare You Want More." I really like this. I really like their first number. I thought it was fun. It had a lot of energy. Um, Gave me that Bruce Springsteen vibe, like you were talking about before.
Yeah, yeah. That's I mean, both performances I thought were really great. Of
Mhm.
course, like everybody said on Twitter, like, oh, he's doing Bruce Springsteen cosplay, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard not to disagree with that because it is very Bruce Springstery, I guess. Like Jack has like a white T-shirt, blue jeans, just all
Yeah,
American, big band, saxophone players, and like
two saxophone players.
two,
I
count
mean, do
them.
you think a band needs two saxophone players, or is that just greedy? That seems
I
excessive to me.
You can never have too many saxophones, man. I mean,
Really?
dude,
Okay.
I'm all for bringing back '80s sax in all types of music in any way possible. I mean, the '80s was like the decade for saxophone, and if we can bring that back,
I mean,
in
look, do not misunderstand me. I am not by any means anti saxophone. I'm just wondering if any band needs two saxophones. That just seems excessive to me.
does any band need two guitarists? How about that? That's that's what I say to that.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Hot
Well,
takes. I'm
you
full
have
of them.
strong feelings about this. You have
I have
strong
very hot.
feelings.
Yes, I'm a saxophone apologist, and I will die on that hill.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. Like, a lot of energy, really great. I like the first number more than the second. The second was called Chinatown. Second number didn't do quite as much for me, but I still liked him overall. I think that was one of the better musical guests we've had this season.
I will agree with that. Strong, like you said, Bruce Springsteen, Eddie and the Cruiser vibes I was getting.
Hmm.
Maybe other bands too that kind of take that sort of musical path, like Gaslight Anthem, Titus Andronicus, Hold Steady type of vibes, and just the highest of energy. Like when you see the energy
Hmm.
this band puts out on stage, it makes the whole show better because we've seen some musical
Yes.
performances where the artist is really kind of lackadaisical and just kind of going through the motions, and that can bring the entire show down. But like
Yeah, that's true.
you could tell Jack came to play, like he was just in it, and I loved it.
They they had a lot of energy. They were obviously having a lot of fun playing, and that was infectious. I mean, that did spread to the audience, and it did give the show a lift. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and also the audience for this show was really hot. Like, did you notice that? Like, they were.
Yeah, yeah, especially at the beginning of Weekend Update. They were really hot. There were like big cheers at the beginning of Update.
Yeah, it was. This was a hot crowd, and this band, Bleachers, just made it even hotter. So just already, I mean, I guess the main theme throughout this entire show was the energy was up throughout the entire show, which I thought was
Yeah,
fantastic.
I think part of that was people were just grateful to have a live show back to watch. So
Yes,
after
that's true.
the unfortunate letdown of the Paul Rudd episode.
Yeah, that's true too. But yeah, yeah. I mean, Bleachers. I'll give them all the bonus points in the world. I thought this two great
Yeah.
performances. I'll agree with you. The first one's a little bit better than the last, but the second performance, Chinatown, was still solid.
Yeah, yeah. I want to check out more of their music. I'm intrigued.
Hmm.
So
You've captured my interest, Bleachers.
that's right. I want to hear a little more from you.
Hmm.
Um, so next we had weekend update with Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Makache.
Michael Che.
Makache. What you say?
I didn't write down too many jokes from this. I did really like Che's joke about the leader of the Oath Keepers was arrested, and this is a man who has an eye patch. Um,
Right.
and I like Jay's line. You know, he looks pretty remorseful. Hopefully, he can patch things up. And then just goes,
Ah.
"That was not an eye joke. That was not an eye joke." And I wonder if they were just having flashbacks to when Pete Davidson made that joke about Dan Crenshaw a couple of years ago, and then had to do the apology on air the next week with the
I
real
mean,
Dan Crenshaw.
yeah, I mean, they had to have been thinking about that too, because I mean,
Yeah,
they did take shots at a one-eyed person years ago, and that came back to bite them in the tuchus. I mean, I don't think it'll.
but this guy's been arrested, so it's totally okay.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Fuck that
Yeah.
guy. Yeah,
Yes. When you're part of a coup, we can make fun of you. I think
yeah.
that's fine.
I think that's fine. I think
When you
that's
try
fine.
to overthrow our government, I think we can have a few yuck 'em ups at your expense.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
right. There was a
So,
couple. Actually, there was a few jokes I wrote down that I liked. I like.
go for
Well,
it.
there's one point where Michael Che talks about how this one lesbian bar is offering COVID tests, but
Oh yes.
instead of doing it the evasive way, they're just going to grind around the outside a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Good
then of
joke.
course,
Good joke.
yeah. But then that also leads into it goes back to Colin Jost, who had a joke about Taco Bell, and
Yes.
even he acknowledged it. Taco Bell, that's a terrible transition.
Yes. Yes. Uh,
big big pop from the audience.
yeah. And we also had an instantaneous GIF of Colin just saying for shizzle. So
Yeah,
that was kind of fun.
not bad. I'm assuming that was from the dress rehearsal that for shizzle they got.
Yeah, probably. Probably. I would imagine so. And then we had Chloe Feynman appearing as Elmo. This was riffing on what was like a viral video this week of Elmo from Sesame Street has this big rivalry with Rocco, who's the pet rock of the character Zoe on Sesame Street.
Right. Like I had to look it up because I had heard about it. I knew it was a thing. So
Yeah.
apparently, like on an episode of Sesame Street, Elmo and has a friend Chloe, and Chloe has a pet rock called Rocco.
Zoe.
Zoe. I thought was it Chloe or Zoe?
No, it's
Zoe.
Zoe. The Sesame Street
Oh,
character
Zoe.
is Zoe.
Okay. Zoe has a pet rock named Rocco, and so they're all hanging out, and I think somebody gives uh, Zoe and Rocco a cookie, and Elmo doesn't
Hmm.
get a cookie, or they ran out of cookies or something like that. And then
Yeah.
Elmo was like, "Oh,
It was the
I'll just take
last cookie. Yeah.
right." And then Elmo was like, "Oh, Elmo will just take Rocco's cookie." And Zoe's like, "No, no, no, that's Rocco's cookie. He wants it." And that, of course, leads Elmo to go down in this weird rabbit hole. It's like it's a rock. What are you talking? Like, he didn't say it like that, but
Yeah.
he might as
It would
well
be
have.
funny
But
if
like,
Elmo did start sounding like that though.
oh, what are you
If
talking
his
about? The
voice
freaking
dropped several octaves, and
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
if Elmo just went all gangster about
Yeah.
it.
Talking about some rock. It ain't got no mouth. It ain't gonna eat. Maron. It's a freaking rock here.
Now, this was a story that I was only sort of vaguely aware of because although I have great affection for Sesame Street, I am a Gen Xer, so Elmo and Zoe were both after my time, so I will never consider them like real Muppets. Um,
they're not canon.
They're well, as far as I'm concerned, no. I mean, because I don't have any kids, so I do not watch Sesame Street any longer. So for me, Sesame Street is Oscar, Big Bird, Grover, Bert and Ernie, Snuffleupagus, and nobody sees Snuffleupagus except Big Bird. That's so I'm old school Sesame Street.
That's right.
So whenever I hear about whatever's going on with Elmo, I'm just like, oh, okay, well that's nice for them, but whatever.
That's the
So
young
this
folks' business.
the Elmo Rocco thing kind of passed me by, but apparently like this video of like a montage of Elmo freaking out about Rocco just went viral for whatever reason.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people kind of identified with Elmo's frustration, I guess,
Uh huh.
about you know Zoe treating a pet rock like it's an actual person or an actual animal that's
She's
living and breathing.
gaslighting
Because
Elmo, basically. Yeah,
yes, very much so, absolutely.
yeah,
So they bring this back in this weekend update segment, and then they have Chloe Fineman in this Elmo outfit. Which and another, I
right,
saw like another thing that they did. I thought was a good touch where like Chloe Fineman's arms aren't part of the costume. Like they have
right.
somebody puppeteering her arms
She's
from underneath
wearing
the
an
desk.
Elmo thing, and her and Chloe's real face is basically in Elmo's mouth, and she's doing a very convincing Elmo voice. But yeah, her the arms are being puppeteered by some people below the desk, and that was very cute, and that made it more Muppety, you know.
Right. Yeah, and Chloe was actually doing some really good like kind of her mannerisms were also very muppety. Like Chloe turned into a puppet just
Hmm.
for those
Yeah,
few minutes.
yeah, yeah. This did make me ask myself a tough question. I was like, is it wrong that I'm a little attracted to Chloe as Elmo? I mean that
Uh
seems weird.
oh boy.
Um,
All right. Did this
yeah,
awaken something in you, John?
it might have. It might have. I don't know where this is going to go. This might turn into a whole Dean Dalmatian thing.
Oh dear.
I
All right.
don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
not
I'm just trying to be upfront about it.
okay. We're not here to king shame. You're on your discover you're on your discovery now. You're discovering something about
I'm
you
on my
that
road to discovery. Yes, yes.
yes. You're having an awakening.
Yeah. I did like when Chloe as Elmo is saying like, "Oh, I wrote a letter of apology to Rocco," and then they cut to a photo, and it's a recreation of the photo of Patton Oswalt writing his letter of apology. Did you catch this?
I you know what? I didn't catch this until my wife pointed it out to me. And
Okay, okay.
so when I saw it, I was like, "All right, I guess that's funny." And then she was like, "No,
Because
no,
like
no, that's like the Patton thing." I was like, "Oh
because
yeah, it is."
Patton Oswalt posted a picture. He Patton Oswalt did a surprise drop in at one of Dave Chappelle's shows because he was playing somewhere nearby, and then he posted a picture, I guess, on Instagram or on Twitter or both, of him and Dave Chappelle, like just sort of arm in arm because they're old buddies that go back a long ways, like 30 years or something like that. And Patton got a lot of blowback for that because Dave Chappelle is getting all this blowback for his anti-trans views. I think it's fair to call them that, right?
I would say that problematic, troublesome views on trans
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah. And so that kind of forced Patton to do this whole long apology slash explanation of like, hey, I've been friends with Dave for 30 odd years, but we totally disagree about this thing, and I was perhaps naive in that I didn't realize how triggering this would be for some people, and he kind of explained where he was coming from, and accompanying that was a picture of him like writing the apology on like longhand, and they recreated that or they photoshopped Elmo into that, and I liked that. I thought that was a cool reference that they put in there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you don't catch it, it'll just go right over your head. And
Right, but
I
if
didn't.
you do catch it, it's an extra level of humor.
Yes, I dug that. Yeah, absolutely.
So
But
I thought
yeah,
this was cool. I thought this was one of the standout things of the night.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's I mean, Chloe did some really good character work as Elmo in it. That's Elmo
Hmm.
freaking out about how everybody was treating Rocco with respect. Because like as the segment goes on, Michael Che brings out Rocco as a guest, and Rocco gets his own
Right.
chair. And
Hmm.
and they were asking, "What's Rocco doing here?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he came in a few days ago. He had to get a COVID test before he came in here." And of course, that
Yeah.
leads Elmo to freak out. But like how he doesn't have a respiratory system? He's a rock.
Right.
And then
Yeah, and then it emerges that Rocco is going to be the upcoming host and musical guest on the February 19th show. So,
yeah,
and this is after like Elmo like asked if he could host someday, and Che's like, well, maybe, and Rocco's already going to be hosting a musical guesting. So,
right.
yeah, Elmo freaks out.
Yeah, and like Elmo freaks out. I think at one point he like smacks Rocco to the ground or something, and then Che's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, calm down, Elmo. Rocco's family is here." And then they cut to a chair with just a big rock and a bunch of little pebbles around on it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, I dug this section. I thought it was really funny.
yeah, cute stuff. Cute stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, so weekend update, thumbs up all around.
Thumbs up. Pretty good weekend update. Yes. Next, we had a sketch called New Governess. This was a parody of The Sound of Music with Kate McKinnon once again hauling out her Julie Andrews impression.
Hmm.
And a very ethnically diverse Von Trapp family, or the Von Trapp's family's neighbors. Um, we had Bowen, Chris, Sarah, Chloe and Andrew Dismukes as the neighbor kids from the Von Trapp family, and the premise is Fraulein Maria says that she's way too busy with the Von Trapps to be their governors as well, so she brings in another friend of hers from the Abbey, and it's Ariana DeBose, and she sings a version of Doe a Deer with some interestingly updated lyrics.
Right, like a dough, a thing that Homer Simpson says, and
Yeah,
you know,
lots of references to
tea.
Queen Latifah.
Yes, tea, the shape of an IUD, and
Yeah,
so an album by Peter Gabriel.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the whole sketch.
Yeah. That was cute. It was funny. I don't think it was as good as the Sound of Music parody they did a few years ago with John Mulaney and Cecily Strong. With John Mulaney when they were doing 16 going on 17 with John Mulaney constantly updating his age and moving it up. Um,
Oh yes.
this was
Mm.
cute though, and it gave Ariana and Kate a chance to sing. So
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the cast was having fun. Yeah, the sketch was charming enough. I think it might have gone on
mhm.
a little too long. Like, maybe they could have
Yeah,
shortened it up a bit. But I don't know. Overall, I thought it was like, yeah, charming enough. I'd say.
yeah, yeah.
At the end it had
So
Keenan as the dad coming out singing instead of Edelweiss, he's singing Curly Fries and singing about French
mhm.
fries. I was like, all right, that's. I mean, it's not like when I describe it, it doesn't sound that hilarious, but it's like one of those things where the material isn't that strong, but the performance kind of brings it up a few notches.
Yeah. This
So,
sketch, by the way, was written by Dan Beulah and Jake Nordwind. And
mm,
and I forgot to mention on Weekend Update, I may as well throw that in now. They had the Elmo and Rocco feature that was written by Chloe Feynman and Jake Nordwind. And they also had
mm.
guest writers Mike Lawrence and Dave Cirrus, both of whom would guest star on
Hey,
this podcast.
how about that? Shout out to Mike and Dave.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Oh,
I don't know what jokes were specifically theirs, but yeah, maybe we should reach out to them and find out what they contributed to this update.
ab- absolutely far out.
Hmm.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's all I had to write. I didn't write much about the new governess sketch. I thought
Okay.
it was
Well, shall
cute.
we move on to Sappho?
Yeah, Sappho.
Sappho. Don't have writing credits for this one. I'm gonna guess that Kate McKinnon had a hand in this because it just seems like such a Kate thing.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah. So we got a lecture at Cornell. Mikey Day is hosting this, and we have Kate and Ariana as guest lecturers. They've discovered new poems by the poet Sappho from
Yes.
the Isle of Lesbos.
Ancient Greek
Uh,
poetess. Yes.
yes, and they all have lesbian themes, but they're all suspiciously on the nose for today's for today's times.
Yes. They translate all these old poems. They translate the things like "Wind in the Mountain," "Eyes of Golden Wood," "We broke up, Helena. Please get your sandals out of here."
Hmm.
I mean, even
Yes.
right off the beginning of the sketch, where it's Mikey Day who's introducing them. He's the host. He's saying he'd like to thank the corporate sponsor, Faye Yogurt. And Faye, be careful how you say it,
Yes. That's just
because
good advice for life, I think.
yeah, I mean, you got that yogurt. You really got to be careful when you pronounce it, because it is a
Yeah.
mind.
I'm not even going to attempt it. Um,
That name is a minefield.
yes. I did like how later on in the sketch, Kate's translating one of the poems, and the line is, "I don't care if Helen of Generous was mean. She did a lot. You think James of Corton is a walk in the park?" I like that just partly because of the cleverness of the name Helen of Generous.
Oh, Ellen DeGeneres. Oh, you know what? I just got that just now. As soon as you said it,
Okay.
I
So
literally,
that joke went totally over Darren's head.
folks, I watched that sketch twice, and I didn't get it until just now. Wow,
Okay.
wow.
Did you get the James Corden joke?
Uh, the James Corden I got, because but
Okay.
the
Okay.
Helen of I don't the word I don't. Yeah, all right, all right, yeah, all right. I'm a dope. I get it.
Okay. I
Oh
guess
boy,
I guess they hit the H a little too hard on that one. So
yeah, but yeah, I mean
you
this
watched this sketch twice, you say?
I swear I watched it twice. I didn't get it either time.
Oh lordy, that
Yeah,
makes my day.
you're welcome. You're welcome, John. You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. And I liked how the last poem they translate. It's just Indigo Girls lyrics, and it just ends with them all jamming out to the Indigo Girls.
Again, another thing I didn't get until they played the Indigo Girls song, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's that Indigo Girls." Because I mean, as much as a music
Yeah.
nerd I am, I don't know much about the Indigo Girls. That's probably one of my blind spots. So
Oh,
I don't know.
okay,
This
okay. Yeah, I know the
yeah,
Indigo Girls, or at least that album, decently. So yeah, as soon as they
right,
started on those lyrics, I was like, ah, I see what you're doing. Um,
right. And the song is "Closer to Fine" by I guess that's like their
yeah,
big
that's
kind of radio hit.
yeah, yeah. I think that was like one of their breakout hits. I mean, that's from like their first album. Yeah, I got to see them open for REM back in the day, so it was a good
Oh,
show.
nice. Oh, far out.
Hmm.
Nice, nice, nice. So
Good stuff. That was I saw them like I had not heard of the Indigo Girls at that point, but then
yeah.
I saw them and I was like, I like the Indigo Girls. I'm going to buy this album, and so I did.
Oh, fantastic. How is it? Good.
It's a good album. It's a good album. That came
Okay.
out, 1989, 1990 ish, something like that. So Michael
All
Stipe
right.
even sings on a couple songs.
Ooh, I was not aware.
Hmm.
I gotta. All right, I guess I gotta get into some Indigo Girl stuff.
I'll
But
send you
yeah, I
some
mean, this.
links.
Please do.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I like the sketch. I thought it was good. It definitely skews towards a LGBTQIA audience. I think because there were a
Hmm.
lot of lines in this sketch where I thought it was okay, but got huge pops from the audience. Like that one
Yeah.
where Ariana is transcribing a poem, and the poem goes, "Golden rain, river lambs, or Riverlands. Nancy, we just met. You're a scary bitch. Nancy, move in with me."
Yeah.
They got a huge pop out of the audience. I think this whole sketch was kind of geared towards uh, 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 gay women, if I can be
I,
so
I,
bold.
I that I don't think that's too much of a leap to say.
Okay,
Yes, I think that is a fair assessment.
I'm trying not to
I think
cancel,
it's
John.
safe to say that you and I were not the target audience of this sketch, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a kick out of it. This
Hmm.
whole show had a very fun vibe to it. I will say.
They were enjoying themselves. Yes, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, all right. Lastly, we have kitchen staff. This is at a Longhorn Steakhouse in Texarkana, and we have James Austin Johnson and Ariana as the two workers. Wonderful wig
Mm.
on James, by the way.
Oh my God, this is magnificent.
Yeah,
The ma- the
and
main.
yeah, and Heidi's character comes in and she says "lure" at the end of every sentence. Everyone's doing these exaggerated Cajun accents.
Yeah, this sketch was just like beyond silly. It was just it's like literally it seemed this was like a sketch where it's like almost just for them, where just everybody's just using a
Yeah.
over the top exaggerated Creole accent and just
Hmm.
almost saying just gibberish at points. Like at
Yeah,
one
I
point,
mean, you. There are times you cannot clearly make out what they're saying, and it's all just like, ha 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 ha. Yeah.
yeah, like
Um.
at one point, Alex Moffat comes in talking about Heidi Gardner's character, who's like apparently the manager, and like they're all
Mhm.
talking about her, saying she Miss Lou should come in and tell me I'm supposed to be sweeping the parking lot at the end of the day. Like I don't know I'm supposed to be sweeping the parking lot at the end of the day, because at the end of the day
Yeah.
it's the end of the day, and I know what I should sweep. Like it's I'm sound like I'm making fun of it, but it literally gets almost to that point where it's
That is
just
pretty much a direct translation of what they were doing in the sketch.
it's pretty
This
much
sketch, by the way,
just
written
who's it written by?
this sketch, by the way, written by Andrew Dismukes, Billy Domino, and James Austin Johnson.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a fun sketch. You can see a few times like Ariana was like very close to breaking just because of the ridiculousness of it and just how everybody's just
Yeah.
doing these over the top Creole accents and just chewing up the scenery like nobody's business.
Uh
And
huh.
it's yeah, it's just a fun one,
Oh,
I thought.
oh, yo, yo, oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh, yo, yeah,
What y'all doing in here, Lur? I'm just, y'all supposed to be making a salads for all these people out there, Lur.
yeah.
Like the way I'm doing it,
Um,
it makes me smile just because it's so just ridiculous.
it's the weird sort of stuff you expect at 10 to 1.
Yes, very much so.
So yeah, this is it was weird, but it was amusing.
I I totally agree, and I think at
Yeah.
the end of the at the end of the day, it's the end of the day. Ho ho ho.
Uh huh. Hmm.
It's fun Creole nonsense, and the peach and lure everybody. I got a kick out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. So and that was a show. There's one cut for time sketch that's up on the YouTube channel. It's called All on Me. This is another
Uh,
Chris Red centric sketch.
yeah, yeah, and it's and basically the premise is Chris Red, he plays this rapper who, it's like talking about how much money he has and he just got signed and he's balling now. So they open the club with his girl and his boy and it's like, yeah, everybody, it's all on me. It's all on me. And and it's like a rap video about how, he's just spending money, throwing it away like it ain't a thing. And then of course Chloe Fineman comes at him with the bill for everything and it's like over for $40,000 or 400, some
Mhm.
astronomical amount. And of course, he has a heart attack almost because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, and then he starts he takes up like a Venmo collection, and then he gathers up people's credit cards and asks them to split it, and we find out that Keenan's character's getting even more extravagant. He's like buying houses and cars and diamonds, and it's all on Chris Red.
Right. Like he buys a house
Um,
for his mom and a car for his
mhm,
mom and a house for his mom's car and and
yeah,
house, rims and gold teeth for his kids, and it just goes on and on and on.
yeah, yeah, and I felt like this was a little funnier in concept than execution. I thought it took a really long time to get to the turn. I think they could have done that in like half the time, and it would have worked as well. Um, so I looked at this and I was like, okay, yeah, this is cute, but I kind of see why it was cut.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's a interesting idea, but yeah, it doesn't really kind of go anywhere. Really, it kind of hits the
Mhm.
same note over and over again, like how, oh yeah, we're buying everything and it's all on him, and the guy's sweating it. And
Yeah,
at the end, his girl, played by Ariana DeBose, says she's pregnant with his baby, and that causes him to freak out a little bit more. But it doesn't really. It kind of meanders. It kind of really go anywhere. So yeah, I'm
yeah,
fine. This got. I'm fine. This got cut. It really. It's an all right
yeah, yeah.
sketch, but that's not really a. It's not a home run or nothing.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
And oh, by the way, the writers list for this episode it's updated a little bit since I gave some of the writing credits. It looks like Sarah Sherman also wrote on the winter formal sketch, and some other people who contributed to the Elmo and Rocco segment on Update were Dan Beulah, Mike DiCenzo, and Ben Silva. So we just want to give them all their due credit.
Yes, give them their flowers, if you will.
Mm, yes.
Yeah, and
So that
th-
that was the show.
not a bad show, I'd say.
I think it was. I think it was a decent show. It wasn't. There wasn't much that like really blew me away, but I thought it was. It was fun, and I think Ariana DeBose was a strong host. I think she was stronger than the material a lot of times, but I think she was. She was game. She had a lot of energy. She did a nice job.
Yeah, I think I'll echo those sentiments. I thought the show was a very high energy show. Like I mean, the Bleachers really definitely added to that. Some of the sketches were
Yeah.
okay, but I think the vibes and the energy in the studio kind of elevated it. Like it elevated okay material to pretty good, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think the
think everybody
perform.
was just really excited to be back. So
Yeah,
after the
exactly.
unexpected turn that the Paul Rudd show took.
Yeah, I would say that too. Like, I mean, even on that the Sapo sketch, that like there were some lines that I thought were okay, but got
Mhm.
huge responses from the audience, like huge, like almost like applause breaks. And I was like, wow, this
Now, do
this
you
audience
think
is hot.
those were more lines that you just did not understand in either
Maybe,
of the two times you watched that sketch?
possibly, it's very
Okay.
possible. Yeah, Hulk not good with words, but
Okay. All right.
yeah, overall, I thought it was like a fun show. I thought it was like a very loose show, especially towards the end. Where
Mm-hmm.
they were getting more kind of relaxed and loose with it, and weren't afraid to be silly. There were like a lot of sketches that were just flat out kind of silly and they were ridiculous, and they were fine with it, and they were able to carry it and elevate it, and they were clearly having fun. The audience was having fun all around. Fun, energetic, loose and silly episode. I dug it.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, should we get into some of the Twitter comments?
Oh yeah, let's do that. We got Twitter
All right.
comments. Oh
Twitter comments. We got a Twitter account at SNL Nerd Show. We asked people, "Hey, what'd you think of this show?" And then they come back at us and they're like, "Hey, this is what we thought." And then we read that stuff and then we comment on that. And that's a thing
yeah,
that we do.
that is a thing that we do.
So
That is a thing that
yeah.
we do. Uh,
So our friend Mikey with two E's says JAJ cold open was fine, but I thought the monologue could have been better. Ariana seemed more than capable of delivering jokes, but felt way underused in the whole episode. Yeah, she was a little light for the host, I think. Weekend Update was probably the highlight for me, followed by Urkel and the 10-1. Oh, and enjoyed Chris Red's mayor too.
yeah. See, I think a lot of people don't know. Like if you don't live in the New York City tri-state area, you don't know much about Eric Adams, and you don't know how Chris Red is kind of playing him. So it just comes off as
Hmm.
this sort of brand new character that Chris Red is portraying. Like you don't know like what he's basing it off of. So I guess you get
Yeah, well, I feel like it's kind of what like Fred Armisen did with that. Was it like the governor who was like legally blind? Do you
oh
remember when he came on? He,
yeah, Patterson. I mean, I just no,
yeah.
I remember his last name because it's my last name. But
Okay.
Floyd Patterson, Lloyd Patterson, something like that.
I don't know.
Oh,
But I mean, I think they just had like this flimsy basis in reality, and they just kind of steered that into here's this bizarre character on that because he would be like this Catskills comic making jokes about New Jersey.
New
Uh,
Jersey,
so
yes.
yeah, which I don't think had much relation to what the real guy was like. Um, outside of the legally blind part.
Right.
And he just end every segment with him just sort of wandering off on stage and not realizing that he was still on camera. So I feel like Chris Red was maybe doing something similar with this with Eric Adams here.
right. By the way, that person, David Patterson, who was the governor,
Okay.
succeeded Elliot Spitzer. Remember him?
Yep.
Ooh. Hmm. Well,
So
let's just leave it at that.
uh-huh. So
Okay.
this was our New York elected officials segment.
New York talk.
Darren James at Mod Revolve says Chris Red wins the night hands down. So
Yeah.
yeah, big night for Chris. Big
Yeah.
night for Andrew Dismukes.
Yeah, I mean Chris Red as I mean he was in the governor sketch, of course the mayor sketch, the
Mm-hmm.
pre-tape with Urkel. He
Yep.
was he was in the Sappho sketch as one of the people in the audience. A lot of Chris Red, a lot of Chris Red.
Yep. A lot of Chris Red. A lot of audience asking questions of people in formal press conferences or in lecture scenarios. A lot of that. Maybe like one too many of that, but whatever. Let's see. Next, we have Boardman gets paid at Lihat.
Lee He Lion or Leo the
Hot.
Lion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that handle breaks down. So yeah,
Leho the
Hot
Lion.
L. I don't know. I'm giving up. I'm throwing the flag in. They say I have not seen the episode yet because Hulu. So instead, I will just display my attempt to be involved. Hi guys, I'm sure we had a home run episode. Go sports! Well, thank you for being involved, Boardman. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Th-
Nice hustle out there.
Thanks for thanks for being part of the team.
Thanks for being part of the team. And we
Uh,
hope you get to see the episode on Hulu eventually and tell us what you think of that.
hmm We have I've Lost Jupiter at I've Lost
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter saying I
On brand.
thoroughly
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. Bleachers reminded me of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Chloe's Elmo was probably the best part for sure, although Urkel, the slaughtering of the kings, and the rest of Weekend Update all shine pretty bright. Hashtag paper covers rock. Okay, I just double and he tweets again, or she or they tweeted, okay, I just doubled back and watched the cold open that I missed earlier. As a manager at a theater, this made me laugh so hard.
Oh,
Because
because
everybody,
of the Spider-Man thing.
because
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
All right. What do they mean by the slaughtering of the kings? I'm not getting that.
It took me a minute because when I read that, I was like, "Oh, was there a medieval sketch that I'm forgetting?" No, he's talking about the Sacramento Kings in the NBA TNT sketch.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Right,
I was just remembering them by the city and not the team name. Okay.
right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that took me a
All
minute
right.
too
I'm
because I
up
was
to speed now.
right. And we your good friend Scott Hume at MNS
Mm-hmm.
Hume says it was
Yep.
fine, although I was disappointed at no Cecily. Was hoping for a Schmigadoon reunion. The timing of the sketch for the new NYC mayor was weird to me, as it felt like it could have been a cold open. Also, I didn't remember that NYC has a new mayor. And yeah,
Right. Because Scott's in Minnesota. Why would he? Why is he paying attention to New York politics?
yeah,
Outside of to follow SNL sketches. I can't think of a reason.
Yep, fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
yeah, it would have been really nice if Cecily could have shown up, and I'm sure she would have had fun with Ariana. But yeah, since she's doing her one woman show on Broadway and doesn't have an understudy for that, uh, it's understandable. Yeah, because if she
Absolutely.
gets sick, that's the whole shebang.
Yeah, and then that's got to be tough because like you have a lot of people's jobs are kind of depending on you. Like if you don't show up, then
Yeah, I mean exactly. Because I mean, if she can't do the show, then that's it. Then that's it for the crew. The crew's got nothing to do. So
damn, wow,
yeah, yeah.
with
So
great
she's got a lot on her shoulders. Yeah,
with
and
great power. Oof,
yeah, comes great responsibility.
that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew
you
how it
just
did.
saw Spider Man, man.
I did. In fairness, I just got that Sappho joke, so you know
That's
my
true.
mind.
That's true. You are slow on the uptake.
Yes, Hulk not good with words. We've
Yeah.
talked about this.
So and oh, there was a bit of an exciting bit of news that broke during the show. We found out who the host and musical guests are going to be for next week.
Ba ba da ba 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 ba.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Will Forte is going to come
Woo!
back and host the show. So that's
Hot
cool.
hot dog. Yeah, I was actually I'm looking forward to that because like it's one of those things where I part of me thought maybe it might not even happen because I mean Will
Hmm.
Forte is a fantastic actor and he was a great cast member, but he wasn't one of those cast members that was like kind of in the spotlight. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like he wasn't.
He didn't break out the way like a Will Ferrell did, or yeah, or even like a
Yeah,
Bill Hader did. I
yeah,
mean, but he was a reliable cast member, and he delivered a lot. He delivered a lot of cool classic moments.
right. Because like I mean, during his tenure on SNL, I think he was on the same time as Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Sudeikis, Sandberg,
Yeah.
and all of them kind of were like became sort of the darlings of the show. And like Will Forte
Right.
he was always one of those guys. He was there. His stuff could be a little weird sometimes, but he was a
Yeah.
solid performer. He barely broke. One of my favorite things he did was that spelling bee sketch with him and Chris Parnell, and it ended with the greatest band in the world,
Right.
Tenacious D. Like he does like offbeat stuff like that, and he's really good, and he's a solid performer. But he was never in the spotlight like that. Like so to see him
Hmm.
hosting
Hmm.
this show really, I mean, I don't know, maybe if it was COVID that maybe had a plan in it, like maybe or what, but like to see him host, I'm really happy to see this, and I'm
Well,
really
I mean,
looking forward to
also
this show.
he's got the new MacGruber show on Peacock, I think it is.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, he's promoting that. I saw him recently. I was on Seth. He did a day drinking segment with Seth Meyers on his show. So yeah, he's having a moment, and he's had a lot of good stuff. You are a big fan of the MacGruber movie.
I enjoy
I think
them.
it's a safe bet we'll see a MacGruber sketch or two next week.
Ooh, oh hot damn! Now you're cooking.
So
Now
that'll
you're
be
cooking,
cool.
Miguel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess those things were written by the Lonely Island guys. I don't know. Maybe they'll come back and write a few MacGrubers, or maybe the Please Don't Destroy guys will write a MacGruber, or
Yeah,
ooh,
I mean, I think other people could write a MacGruber if need be. I think the formula is pretty clear.
I don't know.
You know, yeah, you have something blow up 30 seconds in.
And they make it look easy. It's a lot more complicated than that, John.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And also, as the musical guest, we have Main Skin.
Yeah, this I've never heard of this band before. This was a very
Me
interesting
neither.
choice. So basically, I
Hmm.
looked it up. Mainskin, they're a rock band from Italy, and
Okay.
they came to prominence from being on the Italian version of X Factor, and I think they came in
All right.
11th. They came in 11th place, and then they won the Eurovision Song Contest last year, which is an actual thing. It's something that Will Ferrell made a movie about, along with Rachel
Right.
I forget, Rachel Weisz maybe, or
McAdams.
McAdams, the other Rachel. My apologies. And
Yes, Rachel McAdams.
they're like I guess they've been described as sort of glam rock, kind of hard rock, a little bit of metal and some funk mixed in. But yeah, there's just
Oh
this.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they're this rock band from Rome, Italy, and they're a pretty big deal overseas in Europe and whatnot. And now they're about to make a big splash in America on the SNL stage, which I'm
All
really
right.
interested. Yeah, I'm really interested in this because I think one of the things we've talked about on SNL how as far as it goes with musical guests, they usually kind of go. They have a few types of music that they go to. They go to like country musicians, pop, pop rock, or rap hip hop. And they don't really venture out of that. So to have them bring in this band that may be more well known across the pond, this international band, I really enjoy it. I really would like to see them shake it up a little bit more as far as music goes. I'd like to see them have more world music. I'd like to see them have maybe some
Mhm.
jazz, throw some jazz music in there as far as the band goes.
Sure.
So
Why not? Yeah.
yeah, why not shake it up? So for them to have this band on, who is not really well known in America, but it's starting to blow up a bit. I'm very intrigued by this.
Well, we'll find out what they're all about next week on the 22nd. So
Absolutely, Will Forte and Main Skin. This is going to be a very interesting show. I'm looking forward to it.
this is exciting. This is exciting. Yeah, it's always
Yeah,
fun when an ex cast member comes back to host because you get to see them revisit some of their old characters, and you get to see them mix with cast members who've joined since they've left the show. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
it's going to be a hoot and a half.
Yep, it's going to be a hoot and a half. So
Hmm.
I think that's about everything, right? Do we have anything else to cover?
No, I think we're good. I think that's it. And folks, that's our episode. And as always, thank you so much for listening. As always,
Mm-hmm.
you could follow us on Twitter at SNL Nerds Show. You can
Yes.
hit us up on our Patreon at non-productive.com. Go to the Patreon page at
Mm-hmm.
non-productive.com. Give us some money. Gimme. Money, money, money. It's
And you
that's
get
what I
some
want.
cool bonus content when you do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because we like to. Yeah, we have opinions about other things. Sometimes SNL related, sometimes not SNL related, and yeah, we save those, and you get to hear that when you
Yeah.
contribute to the
Yes.
Patreon.
Give me some money. So do
And
that.
also, if you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app of your choice, that really does help us out as well. Helps boost our profile. And yeah, so if you can give us a 5-star review and type up what you think, we really appreciate that, and we'll read
Yes,
that on the show.
absolutely. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Darren Credible. That's DARIN Credible.
Yes, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Trumbull Comic. That's TRUMBULL, and then the word comic. Oh, and I should also mention I'm also I was just recently on another episode of Cheers Cast, the podcast all about Cheers, where I did another episode where I talked about the fourth season finale, Strange Bedfellows Part 3. That dropped on December 30th, and I've forgotten to mention it the last couple episodes. So go check that out, Cheers Cast, with my friend Ryan Daly. That's always a lot of fun.
Ooh, fantastic. Yeah, check that out, guys.
Check
That's
that out.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back next week with Will Forte and Mainskin. And
Yeah.
we'll see you then. But until then,
Nerds
nerds out!
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.